The year is 1965. It's the age of the supermarket. The act of shopping daily locally has been replaced by the big shop. People still took their reusable shopping bags, but they increasingly started to rely on the free paper bag. But there was a problem. Paper bags don't have handles. Paper bags break easily, and they're no good in the wet British weather. They're not even that good for the environment either, because to make a paper bag, you must cut down trees. What was needed was a solution to the problem of the soggy paper bag, and one that also happened to be good for the environment. And there was a solution, the one-piece polythene bag, invented following the accidental discovery of polyethylene down the road here in Northwich. Durable, weatherproof, with those all-important handles, lighter to transport, and taking only a quarter of the energy to produce, a real win-win. Years later, it all looks rather different though, doesn't it? Because we had the ability to make this material freely, it became abundant and therefore disposable. The technology was quickly applied into every aspect of our lives. It's hard to think of much that hasn't been influenced by plastic in some way, from construction to clothing, from fashion to furnishings. Standing here today in 2022, we are facing a drastic plastic problem, and we need a solution that is not going to become a problem in itself. So let's imagine for a moment that we could produce a new magical material, one that could replace some of this plastic, especially in our clothing. We could start by making it natural and sustainable so that it could be grown with minimal impact to the environment. And it would be biodegradable, so it would be broken down in a matter of months rather than centuries. Let's make it hypoallergenic, antibacterial and breathable so it's comfortable to wear. And let's make it repel water and dirt and odour so we don't need to wash it as much, because I don't know about you, but I already spend too long on my washing. We may as well add as many things to this wish list as possible. So how about throwing a bit of UV and fire protection as well? I mean, that sounds amazing, right? Now what if I told you that a material with all of these properties already existed, and that humans have been using it for thousands of years already? I'm talking about wool. I've seen for myself some of the magical properties of wool when I used it to solve a particular problem I was experiencing at home. We moved our family with small children into a tiny flat with a huge washing pile. I found myself elbow deep in the laundry with no outside drying space and only the tumble dryer to rely on for my wet washing. But I found a solution. Spiky laundry balls. They speed up the drying process. They replace the need for fabric softeners and dryer sheets. What a great solution to my problem. But you know what I'm going to say, don't you? They were made of plastic. So I did invest, but they were noisy and plastic in a world where we're already using too much plastic. So I wanted a different solution. And I didn't need to look very far to find it. Across the fields in Yorkshire, there are lots and lots of sheep. And where there are sheep, there is wool. So I started making the dryer balls out of wool, felted to look like the different breeds of sheep that the wool had come from. Great results and a much more natural resource. So what is it about wool that makes it such a worthy competitor to plastic? Well, the real secret to wool lies in its structure, and that's what gives it all the magical properties that I mentioned earlier. But yes, let's look at the more surprising of these properties right now. So wool is fireproof and wool is breathable. Are you surprised that wool is fireproof? Let's just take a look at that one in a little bit more detail. So wool fibres are cloaked in scales. This works very much like the slates on your roof. The water just runs straight off the back of it. However, water vapour gets trapped between the scales, and wool is one of the most water-loving of all fibres. It's capable of absorbing as much as 40% water vapour without feeling wet to the touch. Combine that with its high nitrogen content, and wool struggles to burn. Firefighters today wear woolen underwear as a last line of defence when they're fighting fires. And it is also why they advocate wool carpets and curtains for inside your homes too. Wool is breathable, and this is because air gets trapped between the scales. This creates a thermal barrier and it slows down the transfer of heat. So when you're wearing wool, it will keep you cool on a warm day and cozy on a chilly day. So with all of this in mind, it just got me wondering, why are we no longer wearing wool? What's the first item that springs to your mind when you first think about wearing wool? I'm going to guess it's jumpers and hats, scarves and gloves, all items associated with the colder winter months. But remember, wool is breathable, so especially if you combine this with a lighter weight knit, you can wear wool all year round. Now, you may expect me to stand up here today and tell you that my dress is made of wool, and you'd be right. But would you be surprised if I told you that my earrings were also made of wool? And when you were watching last year's Wimbledon Championships, did you spot that Andy Murray's tennis kit was also made of wool? Because Mother Nature has created the most technologically advanced fibre for activewear. And wool underwear is not just for firefighters either. Let me show you my lace and wool knickers, which I think you'll agree look probably as far removed from the first image that came to your head when you were thinking about woolly underwear. So I would like you to think outside of the box with this one, really. And speaking of boxes, did you know you can get a wool coffin? So wool really can see you from the cradle to the grave. We can't deny the drastic plastic problem that faces us in the 21st century. It's something that has crept up on us, really. Thinking back to the bag example at the beginning, the plastic started as a solution before it became the problem itself. So what we need is for two things to happen. We need to shift our perceptions of our attitudes to our throwaway plastic culture, but we also need a sustainable, environmentally friendly alternative. The good news is we don't need to wait for it to be invented. We don't even need to look very far to find it. It's already here. It's wool.